If your legs are swollen, you are probably already watching what you eat. But there is a good chance the foods you think are safe are the exact reason the swelling keeps coming back. These are not junk foods. They are foods most seniors eat every day thinking they are making the right choice. Today, we are going through 8 of them, so you know exactly what to stop. And before we get into the list, drop your age in the comments and tell us if you have swollen legs or if you have been struggling with this for a while. We read every comment, and your answers genuinely help us understand what topics matter most to this community and what to cover next. Number 8. Canned soup. Canned soup feels like one of the safest meals a senior can have. It is warm, easy to make, light on the stomach, and it has vegetables in it. A lot of seniors eat it several times a week, thinking they are being careful with their diet. When you are watching what you eat, soup feels like the right choice. The problem is the sodium. A single serving of a popular canned chicken noodle soup contains around 900 milligrams of sodium. That is almost half of what your entire body should have in a full day. And most people do not stop at one serving. They eat the whole can, which means they are getting close to their entire daily sodium allowance from one bowl of soup at lunch. Here is what that sodium does. When too much sodium enters your bloodstream, your body holds onto water to try to dilute it. That water has to go somewhere, and it ends up pooling in your tissues, especially in your legs and ankles. The more sodium you take in, the more fluid your body holds onto, and the worse the swelling gets. After 60, your kidneys are not as efficient at clearing out excess sodium as they used to be. So it stays in your system longer, and the fluid buildup that comes with it stays longer too. Research has found that seniors process and excrete sodium significantly more slowly than younger adults, which means the same bowl of soup that might pass through a 35-year-old in a few hours can keep affecting fluid balance in a senior well into the next day. A senior eating canned soup a few times a week is essentially refilling that fluid every single day before the previous day's swelling has even had a chance to drain. A woman in her late 60s could not figure out why her ankles were swollen every evening, even though she thought she was eating well. Soup for lunch every day. She switched to homemade soup with no added salt, and within 2 weeks, the evening swelling had noticeably reduced. If you love soup, make it at home with fresh ingredients and low-sodium broth. If you do buy canned, look for versions with under 400 milligrams of sodium per serving and eat only half the can at a time. Number 7. Breakfast cereal. Most seniors start their morning with a bowl of cereal thinking it is a healthy way to begin the day. Whole grain on the box, high fiber on the label. It feels like a responsible choice, especially after years of being told to eat more fiber. But most breakfast cereals, even the ones marketed as healthy or high fiber, are loaded with sugar and refined carbohydrates. When you eat them, your blood sugar spikes quickly. Your body releases insulin in response. And here is the part most people never connect to swelling. High insulin levels tell your kidneys to hold onto sodium. And sodium, as we just talked about, pulls water into your tissues. So a bowl of cereal in the morning can set off a chain reaction that has your ankles swelling by afternoon. The effect is worse after 60 because insulin sensitivity decreases with age. Your body produces more insulin than it needs to handle the same amount of sugar, which means the sodium retention effect is even stronger than it would be in a younger person. A man in his early 70s had been eating the same brand cereal every morning for years, thinking it was good for his heart. He switched to oatmeal with no added sugar and some berries. His afternoon swelling improved within a few weeks, and he said he had not connected the two until he made that change. Swap your cereal for plain oats, cooked with water and topped with fresh fruit. Oats are a whole grain that digests slowly and does not spike insulin the same way processed cereal does. The fiber in oats also helps slow down how quickly sugar enters your bloodstream, which keeps the insulin response low and controlled. Check the sugar content on any cereal box before you buy it. If sugar is in the first 3 ingredients, put it back. A good rule of thumb is to look for cereals with less than 5 grams of sugar per serving, and even then, plain oats are always the safer choice for seniors dealing with swelling. Number 6. Bottled salad dressing. Eating a salad feels like one of the healthiest things you can do, and it is. Fresh vegetables, no heavy cooking, something light and clean. But what most seniors pour over that salad is quietly working against them. Bottled salad dressings are one of the most concentrated sources of hidden sodium in the average kitchen, and almost nobody thinks to check the label. 2 tablespoons of a standard store-bought dressing can contain anywhere from 300 to 500 milligrams of sodium. Most people use more than 2 tablespoons. And because you are pouring it over vegetables, you feel like everything is balanced out. It is not. The sodium in that dressing works exactly the same way as the sodium in canned soup. Your body holds onto water to dilute it. But because people never think of salad dressing as a sodium problem, they keep using it every day without connecting it to their swelling. After 60, the kidneys slow down in how fast they clear sodium. So even what seems like a small amount at lunch is still sitting in your system by the time you go to bed. Over days and weeks, that adds up to consistent fluid retention in your lower legs. A retired nurse we heard about was eating salad every day, thinking she was doing everything right. Her legs were still swollen. When she looked at the sodium on her favorite dressing bottle, she was shocked. She switched to olive oil and lemon, and the difference in her legs was noticeable within days. Make your own dressing with olive oil, lemon juice, and a little garlic. It takes 30 seconds, costs almost nothing, and has close to 0 sodium. Or look for dressings with under 100 milligrams of sodium per serving and measure out a proper 2 tablespoon portion instead of pouring freely. Read the label before you buy, and do not let the word light or healthy on the front fool you into skipping the nutrition panel on the back. Number 5. Cottage cheese. Cottage cheese has a reputation as one of the best healthy snacks for seniors. High protein, low fat, easy to digest. A lot of people eat it daily thinking they are doing their body a favor, especially seniors who have been told to eat more protein to maintain muscle. What most people do not realize is that cottage cheese is surprisingly high in sodium. A single half-cup serving contains around 350 to 400 milligrams of sodium. And because it is eaten as a snack, sometimes twice a day, the sodium adds up fast. The protein in cottage cheese is genuinely good for you, but the sodium it comes packaged with tells your body to hold onto water. And unlike the obvious salty foods where you expect the sodium, cottage cheese catches people off guard because it does not taste particularly salty. You would never guess from the taste how much sodium is actually in it. For seniors, this matters more because the kidneys are processing sodium more slowly. What might pass through quickly in a younger person lingers longer after 60, giving it more time to pull fluid into the tissues of your legs and feet. A senior woman who had been eating cottage cheese as her daily afternoon snack for years noticed her feet were consistently puffy by evening. She switched to plain, unsalted Greek yogurt with the same protein benefit and far less sodium. The evening puffiness in her feet reduced significantly after about 10 days. If you enjoy cottage cheese, look for low-sodium versions, which are available in most grocery stores and are clearly labeled on the front of the package. Or swap it for plain Greek yogurt, which gives you the same protein with much less sodium. A half cup of plain Greek yogurt has roughly a third of the sodium that cottage cheese has while delivering the same amount of protein. Even cutting back to once a day instead of twice makes a meaningful difference when you are eating it consistently. Number 4. Sports drinks. A lot of seniors started drinking sports drinks because someone told them it was good for hydration, or they read that electrolytes help with muscle cramps. And for a senior who is active or spending time outside in the heat, it feels like a smart and responsible health choice. But most sports drinks are loaded with both sodium and sugar. A single bottle can contain over 270 milligrams of sodium and 34 grams of sugar. The sodium is in there deliberately to replace what you lose through sweat. But if you are not exercising intensely enough to actually sweat out that sodium, you are just adding more sodium to your system than your body needs or can clear efficiently. The sugar triggers an insulin response that leads to even more sodium retention in the kidneys, so you get a double hit. Sodium from the drink itself, and then additional sodium retention triggered by the sugar. Both of them pull water into your tissues, and both of them hit seniors harder than younger adults because of how the kidneys slow down after 60. Research from cardiovascular specialists has specifically flagged sports drinks as a concern for seniors with fluid retention and heart conditions because of exactly this sodium and sugar combination. A man in his late 60s was drinking a sports drink after his morning walk every day, thinking he was replenishing his electrolytes. His doctor noticed his ankle swelling was worse than expected. When he switched to plain water with a squeeze of lemon, the swelling improved within a couple of weeks. Plain water is the best hydration for most seniors unless you are doing intense physical activity. If you do need electrolytes after exercise, coconut water with no added sugar is a much better option with far less sodium. Number 3. Frozen meals. Frozen meals marketed as healthy are one of the most misleading products in the grocery store. Lean, light, healthy choice, balanced nutrition. The labels are designed to make seniors feel like they are making a smart decision. And for someone living alone who does not want to cook a full meal every day, they feel like a practical and healthy solution. But the sodium levels in most frozen meals are high, regardless of how healthy the label sounds. Even meals marketed specifically toward health-conscious consumers regularly contain 700 to 900 milligrams of sodium per serving. Some contain over 1,000 milligrams. The sodium is in there to preserve the food and enhance the flavor because without it the food would taste flat after being frozen. Eating one of these regularly means you are taking in a significant sodium load at least once a day. For a senior whose kidneys are already processing sodium more slowly, that is enough to keep fluid consistently pooling in the lower legs day after day. The other issue is that frozen meals are often eaten out of convenience, meaning seniors eat them regularly, sometimes daily, which means the sodium exposure is constant. There is never a break for the body to fully clear it. A woman in her early 70s was eating a popular healthy frozen meal for lunch every day because it felt easy and responsible. She started batch cooking simple meals on weekends and freezing them herself with no added salt. Her legs were noticeably less swollen within 3 weeks. Cook in batches at home and freeze your own portions. Use herbs and spices for flavor instead of salt. If you do buy frozen meals, check that the sodium is under 600 milligrams per serving and limit them to a couple of times a week at most. Number 2. Pickles. Pickles feel harmless. They are cucumbers. Cucumbers are a vegetable. Vegetables are healthy. A lot of seniors eat pickles as a snack or a side without thinking twice about it. They feel like a guilt-free option between meals. But pickles are preserved in brine, which is essentially very concentrated salt water. A single large pickle spear can contain over 500 milligrams of sodium. Some varieties contain even more. That is from one spear, not a full serving. And because pickles are eaten casually as a side or a snack, they rarely get counted in a senior's mental tally of how much sodium they have had that day. That hidden sodium does exactly what all the other sodium on this list does. It signals your body to hold onto water. It pulls fluid into your tissues. And it makes the swelling in your legs worse, while you have absolutely no idea the pickles are contributing to it. After 60, the body's ability to regulate fluid balance becomes less precise. Small, consistent sodium sources that younger people might handle without issue become cumulative problems for seniors. Pickles eaten a few times a week are enough to keep the fluid balance tipped in the wrong direction without you ever realizing it. A senior man who snacked on pickles almost every day alongside his lunch did not think they could be contributing to his swollen ankles. When his nutritionist pointed out how much sodium was in them, he was genuinely surprised. He cut them out and replaced them with fresh cucumber slices. His ankles were noticeably better within 2 weeks. Swap pickles for fresh vegetables as a snack or side. Fresh cucumber, celery, or carrot sticks give you the same crunch without the sodium. If you love the tangy flavor, try adding a squeeze of lemon or a splash of apple cider vinegar to fresh vegetables instead. Number 1. Whole wheat bread. This is the one that surprises people the most. Whole wheat bread is what most seniors switched to years ago, specifically because they were told it was the healthy choice. It is on every clean eating list. It feels like the responsible decision. But commercially made whole wheat bread is one of the most overlooked sources of hidden sodium in a senior's daily diet. 2 slices can contain between 200 and 300 milligrams of sodium. And most seniors eat bread at multiple meals. Toast at breakfast, a sandwich at lunch, maybe a dinner roll. That adds up to 600 to 900 milligrams of sodium from bread alone in a single day. On top of the sodium, Most commercial whole wheat bread is still processed enough to cause an insulin spike, which leads to even more sodium retention in the kidneys. So you get the direct sodium hit from the bread and the secondary retention from the insulin response at the same time. Research has consistently pointed to commercially prepared breads as one of the top sources of hidden sodium in the average diet, even the versions with healthy-sounding labels. A man in his mid-60s had been eating whole wheat toast for breakfast and a whole wheat sandwich for lunch every day, thinking he was eating clean. When he switched to a low-sodium sourdough and cut back to one serving a day, his swelling improved more than it had from any other change he had made. Look for breads with under 100 milligrams of sodium per slice. Sourdough made with simple ingredients is often a better option because the fermentation process naturally reduces the need for added salt. Try eating open-faced with one slice instead of two. And if you are eating bread at breakfast and lunch every day, try dropping one of those servings and replacing it with something like eggs or oats. Reducing your bread intake even slightly makes a real difference when you are eating it at every meal. Now you know the 8 foods that are most likely making your swollen legs worse even though you thought they were safe. Canned soup, breakfast cereal, bottled salad dressing, cottage cheese, sports drinks, frozen meals, pickles, and whole wheat bread. All of them common. All of them foods most seniors trust every single day. And all of them quietly feeding the fluid buildup in your legs without you ever suspecting them. The good news is that swapping even 2 or 3 of these out this week can make a noticeable difference within days. Your body responds quickly when you stop giving it reasons to hold onto fluid. Small changes at the grocery store can translate to real relief in your legs faster than most people expect. If you found this helpful, please subscribe and give this video a like. It helps us reach more seniors who need this information. And let us know in the comments what topic you would like us to cover next. We read every single one.